After being completely helpless in the face of mob fury in his country, the Yunus government now offers meaningless platitudes, terming the mass anarchy as violence committed by a few fringe elements. The images we show on your screens will show you how these aren't isolated incidents. This is a planned, orchestrated riot that's taking place in Bangladesh, and targeted attacks at that. The Yunus government, however, refers to it as a few fringe elements. Perhaps that explains why there's been no crackdown and no attempt to control the situation. The Yunus government has also condemned the lynching of a Hindu man. Now, there's a detailed statement that's come out with the government urging all citizens of Bangladesh to resist all forms of mob violence. Now, they've also said that we condemn all acts of violence, intimidation, arson and destruction of properties. We condemn the lynching of a Hindu man in Mymensingh. There's no space for such violence in New Bangladesh. This is what they've said in their statement. The reality, however, is on your screens. A man was lynched in full public view, a Hindu man. They said he was accused of blasphemy, so they took law into their own hands. There's no proof, by the way, to back those allegations. But he was lynched, killed, and the images are horrifying, so sensitive and so disturbing, many of which we're not airing right now on national TV. But that, coupled with the kind of protests, the riots we're seeing in Bangladesh, really tells you how much control Yunus currently has on what's happening in his country. Statements like these keep coming in. It's done nothing to quell the unrest in Bangladesh. And let's get you all of the updates of what's really happening in Bangladesh right now. There's been violence, there's been arson on the streets, all triggered and sparked off by the death of a prominent anti-Hasina, anti-India face, Sharif Usman Hadi. Now, a Hindu man was lynched by a mob over allegations of blasphemy. This happened in Mymensingh district. He was brutally assaulted. The victim, Deepu Chandra, was tied to a tree, set on fire by the bloodthirsty mob. And we advise viewer discretion for the images we're showing you of how the assault and the lynching took place. You can see hundreds of people gathered there, but none of them even tried to stop this kind of an attack. In fact, they were all actively involved in it. And these are some of the other images of the protests that have broken out. Mind you, a lot of it is triggered by anti-India sentiment, which is extremely concerning. A mob even stormed the Assistant High Commission of India in Chittagong, setting it on fire. They broke barricades, marched towards the High Commissioner's office, residence, and set it on fire. And then you had a Bangla cultural organization called Chayanaut, it's the most prominent one in the country, completely vandalized. In all of these protests, there's one common theme. Anti-India slogans being chanted on the streets by protesters. The situation clearly right now is completely spiraling out of control. And Yunus has condemned the violence, but has been able to do nothing to control it. He's apologized for the attacks and has vowed strict action against the perpetrators. Meanwhile, former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina's aide has said these incidents are state-sponsored activity.
আমরা শহীদ শরীফ উসমান হাদির আদর্শ ও ত্যাগকে শক্তিতে পরিণত করি, ধৈর্য ধারণ করি, অপপ্রচার ও গুজবে কান না দেই এবং যে কোনো হঠকারী সিদ্ধান্ত থেকে বিরত থাকে। যারা দেশকে অস্থিতিশীল করতে চান তাদের ফাঁদে পা না দিয়ে আসুন আমরা সবাই ঐক্যবদ্ধভাবে গণতন্ত্র, ন্যায় বিচার ও গণমানুষের অধিকার প্রতিষ্ঠার পথে অবিচল পদক্ষেপে এগিয়ে যাই।
Well, it was all pre-planned. I mean, it is a pattern that has been planned, and now the plan is in action. It is a state-sponsored activity, what they have been doing. I mean, when two civilians call for blood and dead bodies, how can they not be still arrested? And they have asked for it in public. So it is a pattern, and they have gone towards the Indian High Commission for reasons which none of us are aware of. I mean, what the Indian High Commission has got to do anything to do with the Hadi incident. They wanted to shut it down. I mean, who are they? Really, I mean, what is their mandate? A handful of extremists from some random groups of society wanting to shut down a foreign mission of a friendly country of Bangladesh.
And the latest wave of violence in Bangladesh, remember, has been triggered by the death of Usman Hadi, a known anti-India voice. His body has now been brought to the Dhaka airport. It's going to be, the mortal remains will be taken out shortly. So there's going to be a massive procession in all likelihood in Dhaka. There has been security arrangements put in place, but very little that can actually be done in the face of this kind of a riotous, violent mob. I'll bring in on this broadcast Pranay Upadhyay, editor of India Today Global. We also have my colleague Gaurav Sawant joining us on this broadcast. Pranay, I'll begin with you. What's the current situation in Bangladesh? Have things calmed down, or have things completely spiraled out of control?
Situation seems to be going out of control right now, Akshita. If you see, even as we are talking, the large number of crowd is there in around the Dhanmandi area of Dhaka, around the Shahbag area of Dhaka, and in fact, as you rightly pointed it out, that the dead body of Usman Hadi will be brought, is being brought to Dhaka, and his funeral will be conducted tomorrow. So, meanwhile, the situation remains extremely tense in Bangladesh because when crowds are on the street, you never know when things can go wrong, can go south, and can spiral out of control. Because if you see the administration of Muhammad Yunus and his team, they are certainly not being able to contain the situation. Since last 24 hours, the rioting and arsoning, vandalism is being done in various parts of Bangladesh, and the police is not being able to contain and control the situation. So that remains a question, and India has its specific concern because our missions, our diplomatic activities are being targeted in this situation, and there seems to be a new phenomena in Bangladesh, Akshita, that anti-India, riling anti-India sentiment seems to be the new recipe for the political power and for the political traction.
The new normal, unfortunately, in Bangladesh, and that's very worrying for India as well. Pranay, just stay with me. I'll bring in Gaurav Sawant on this. Gaurav, I want to refer to the footage that came in of a Hindu man being lynched. Some of it so extremely sensitive that we've been unable to air most of it on national television. But it tells you the situation and the plight right now in Bangladesh. What to you, Gaurav, explains this kind of Hindu hate in Bangladesh?
The situation in Bangladesh, Akshita, is very, very precarious, and Hindus and other minorities constantly, they've been targeted ever since Professor Muhammad Yunus's establishment took charge. Hindu temples were targeted earlier, other minorities were targeted, they were made to quit their jobs because on the face of it, this was a students' movement, but behind them, the force were these radical Islamists, the Jamaat, and that's now completely holding fort and holding charge in Bangladesh. Even now, the targeting of a Hindu on charges of blasphemy, in a radical Islamist environment, that's the easiest they can do. They can target anyone for blasphemy and lynch him, and there will be no investigation. The images from Bangladesh, they are horrifying. The manner in which this man was caught, assaulted, beaten, lynched, stripped, hung from a tree, and then set on fire. And thousands of people who were there, not only were they assaulting him, they were then making videos of that assault and of the lynching and of that man being set on fire, and nobody helped and nobody called the police. That just shows Bangladesh is either on the brink or has gone over the edge.
Okay, let me just also bring in Mohammad Kamruzman, a journalist in Dhaka. He's just going to be joining us in a few moments from now so we can get a sense of what the situation is currently on ground. But Pranay, explain this to me. When you see this kind of an incident like that of a hardliner like Usman's death, you'd think that the government would be fully prepared for the backlash or for the protests. Why are they completely caught off guard with what's happened?
You're absolutely right, Akshita. These are the serious questions, and in fact, it's not about the concerns being expressed by the government of India. But also the US Embassy in Dhaka has also cautioned all the US nationals, all the US citizens in Bangladesh to remain extremely vigilant about the situation, and with a specific remark that, when mob is on out, you never know how the situation can spiral out of control. And here the protesters are also asking for the resignation of the Jahangir Alam Chaudhry, who's kind of a home minister of Bangladesh. So in fact, there is a breakdown of law and order situation in Bangladesh, and specifically if you see, rather than giving evidence, rather than investigating the case, squarely the blame is being put on India. That remains a major concern. India shares the longest land border with Bangladesh, and that also remains a cause of concern for India. And that's why India summoned a Bangladeshi High Commissioner in New Delhi, expressed our serious concern about the situation, and asked Bangladesh government to ensure the safety and security of Indian diplomatic mission and India's diplomatic activities there. But if you see what is happening right now, the minorities are being targeted, the vandalism is being practiced. In fact, the newspaper outlets like Daily Star, Pratham Alo are being targeted. The cultural organizations are being targeted. So definitely, as per the BNP leader, the BNP General Secretary, he said in certain media interviews that there is a pattern, there is a design behind it. This did not happen on its own.
Gaurav, taking this across to you, one aspect of it is Hindu hate, as we spoke about it. There's also all this anti-India rhetoric, there's protest, which is extremely worrying, because the question that then comes up is, what does this mean for diplomatic ties between India and Bangladesh, which already hit a new low this year? What happens when you see this kind of agitations and the pure hate on ground?
So anti-India hate is an election issue. The moment radical Islamists take center stage, there are elements from Pakistan who are already in Bangladesh. When you speak to people who've either fled Bangladesh or are living in fear, they tell you how those who had helped the regime that had targeted the Bengalis before 1971, their descendants are completely ruling the country. Look at the manner in which newspaper offices have been targeted, so that nothing against this establishment is even printed in newspapers ahead of elections in February 2026. That's point one. Pratham Olo was targeted, Daily Star was targeted, newspapers were targeted, journalists are intimidated. Whatever remained of Bangbandhu's house, that was targeted. Awami League anyway not being permitted to contest elections. So will these be free and fair elections? Clearly not. But the manner in which this is being pursued, it's almost as if Bangladesh is not just going down Pakistan's way, it's actually going to be worse than Pakistan in times to come. And that is why this anti-India hatred is being fueled in the country for radical Islamists to get votes.
All right, Gaurav, Pranay, thanks for joining us with all of those details. Extremely concerning what's happening in our neighboring country. But okay, now joining us on this broadcast to give you a live update of what the current situation is in Bangladesh is Mohammad Kamruzaman, journalist from Dhaka. Thank you very much for your time. I hope you, your family, your loved ones are all doing okay, because looking at the images right now, Kamruzaman, it's looking bad out there. What's the situation in Dhaka and around you?
Well, thank you very much for having me. Actually, I am here. There is huge sound, and you know that it's night. So I have positioned here to talk a little bit clearly. So I see that here, the Shahabad intersection, that is a very much important place. So many hospitals surrounding this place. However, this is completely blocked now due to the huge gathering of protesters, and they are now demanding immediate punishment of the killer of Sharif Usman Hadi. And they say that if the punishment of Hadi is not ensured immediately, it means that the life of every July protester is insecure. And you know that Hadi was shot on December 12th on broad daylight, just after the lunch time. So they are claiming that they're concerned that this type of incident shouldn't be happened during the interim government time. There were army on the field, so they are concerned now, and they want to see the capital punishment of the killer. and they are also chanting slogans
Okay.
on different issues. And they are also very angry with our neighboring India because reportedly the killer is in India, though there is no authentic information regarding this.
There's nothing that confirms that, but a lot of rumors leading to this kind of unrest. Kamruzaman, I also want to understand from you, considering that what triggered this protest is also the death of Usman Hadi. His body, we understand, has reached the Dhaka airport. The next 24 hours, therefore, will be crucial to see how things are controlled in areas of Dhaka, because we understand that a huge number of people are expected to gather on the streets of Dhaka tomorrow for the funeral.
Yes, we also came to know, and even several critical points of capital Dhaka, army has been deployed along with other regular law enforcers. So security has been beefed up hugely. There are so many intersections at different points. Police checking are continuing. And this dead body, as you said, and we also know that according to information reached Bangladesh, and tomorrow after at lunchtime, actually after the whole prayer, the funeral will be held in the country's one of the biggest and widest street, Manikni Avenue, in front of the Parliament building tomorrow,
Okay.
according to the information. So huge number of people will be gathered there. Is expected due to the popularity of this young politician.
All right, Kamruzaman, thank you very much. Stay safe out there. Thank you for the moment for joining us. We will hopefully connect with you in the next few hours to continue getting those live updates. We're on ground. We're telling you what's really happening in Bangladesh. It's not looking good, especially because of the anti-India rhetoric, the sentiment that's growing, and the violent protests that are rocking Bangladesh. It's never good news when a neighboring country is going through this kind of turmoil, especially when all of the hate is pointed towards India. We're going to continue tracking very, very closely what's happening in Bangladesh, but that's all I have time for in this edition of Super 6. Thanks very much for tuning in.